My name is Regina Gill. I'm the founder and executive director of the Gold Coast International Film Festival, and it's always my pleasure to invite you to... It's not on? Oh, then I have to really kiss it. Okay. Start again. Regina Gill, Gold Coast International Film Festival founder and executive director. My pleasure to invite to see all of you. You've already been invited. And the excitement tonight is that we have this premiere here tonight, and we have the producer, all of her family. She's flown in from LA. We have all kinds of interesting personalities connected to the film who will be here with us and with you. And we just wanted to make sure, because she said that her family hasn't seen the film. So we're waiting for them to pay their bill next door at Lola. And so then they're coming in. I figured in the interest of full disclosure, I should let you know that. I'm going to do a quick thank you. First, a quick thank you. It shouldn't be quick, a profound thank you to our sponsors, to the people who believed in this festival, who understood what it would mean to the region, to Town of North Hempstead, Nassau County, and Douglas Elliman Real Estate, who stepped up and became a solid citizen sponsor and renewed for 3 years and no end in sight. We're very, very grateful to all of them, and they deserve a round of applause. Thank you. Now, normally, we would have shown you our really nifty trailer, but because we had some tech glitches this afternoon, we've decided not to take a chance. So we're not going to show you our trailer, but our trailer would have thanked all of our other sponsors. And you will see them listed in the official guide, and I would really appreciate it if you would just take a look and see. We've had some pretty wonderful sponsors who've stepped up to help us make this happen. Somebody said to me today, said, "You pay for these movies?" I said, "Yeah, otherwise how are we going to get them?" "Oh, I didn't know you have to pay for them." So there's a lot that goes into a festival. Choosing the movie is not enough. Sometimes our short film curator pointed out that she had literally seen 780 short films before she selected the, 3 dozen that ended up in the program. So there's a lot that goes into this, and we hope that you will understand. In this particular situation, and who do we have back there? Do we have Karina back there? Hey, Karina. Hi. I'll tell you in a second. I'm about to tell you about Karina, but just a moment. In tonight's instance, this was a case of, I met this really fabulous young woman at a reading of a new play in Manhattan. And we got to talking, hit it off, met for coffee, and she started talking about a film that she was going to be producing that was going to end up in Seattle. I said, well, let us know about it when it's ready. And it took a little time, and eventually, at literally the midnight hour, we pulled it off together, and she flew in from LA, and she's here with, she'll tell you more about it, I'll introduce her in a moment, to tell you more about it. Do you have ballots? Yes. Were you given ballots? There's a reason why you were given ballots. Your vote counts. Those ballots are going to be quickly tabulated following this screening, and maybe we can get a winner for our short film, even though they came in at the last minute. So it doesn't really matter. She's screening, she's here. I want you to know that Karina Miller is going to join us up front now, just to quick let you see her face. Hey, Karina. In her wonderful boots, in her stilts. And normally we're really not that different in height, but anyway, Karina's going to set up the film for you.
Okay.
Okay, and then we're all going to enjoy teddy bears.
Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming. This all started, believe me, it's going to be real short. Similar type thing. I met a guy at a cocktail party. We talked about how he didn't want to be at the cocktail party. Became friends. We had lunch a couple times, and he was saying that he was trying to raise money for a movie that he was making, and he's like, I know it's not your thing, it's a kind of a dark comedy, but could you read it and maybe you could pass it along? So I read it, and I called him maybe 4 minutes after. I was like, I'm doing this movie. I'm the executive producer. I like to call myself the icing on the cupcake. There are people who are much more boots on the ground, but it was fantastic. We had a dream cast, literally people who we were like, if only, with like the bubbles, and then they said yes. So it's fed. 2 of our amazing cast members are here. 2 of our bubbles are here. Jason and Melanie, who you'll meet later. We spent 19 days in the desert. There's Joshua Tree, which is a beautiful national park. There's 29 Palms, which is a military town. And then there's a military base, and then there's a bunch of nothing. We were like past the nothing. Our cast were amazing, stepping over snakes and dealing with wind and sand. But it was pretty amazing. We're really happy with what came out. It both looks beautiful, sounds beautiful, the acting's fantastic, the writing is beyond. David Krumholtz, who is not able to make it tonight, plays Andrew in it, and he has asked us to tell every audience, please laugh at me. So with that, I give you teddy bears.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, you met Karina Miller before the movie, but another round of applause for Karina Miller and Melanie Lynskey and Jason Ritter. So do you want to start and talk a little bit about the film, or do you want to open it up to questions?
I think questions are good. Questions are good.
Because I'll be honest, I had a list of questions to ask you, and as you were doing your intro, I was going check, 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 check.
And we're done.
You really did answer, I think, a lot of questions when you introduced the film about what it's like to be a producer and get a film like this, and kind of the evolution of this film, which I know was of tremendous interest to me and a lot of people here. But I guess I do want to start with one question, which is, what was the funniest thing that happened while you were filming this movie?
The funniest thing that happened...
Or a funny thing that happened. Like, what's something unexpected that happened while you were filming it? Something you guys took away from it that you said, oh, God, I'll never remember that crazy day, or...
There's one thing that... it's the scene where we've bought the 2 ladies of the night to try to appease David Krumholtz's strange request. It's not David Krumholtz's strange request. It's
Andrew.
The characters. It's Andrew's. And I say, I'm going to hit you so hard in the face. And he came out and he said, you already did that with a rock? And the way he said it, for some reason, we thought he would say, with a rock. But he was like, with a rock? Like a question. And for some reason, both Zach and I couldn't stop laughing at that, and because he said it, and then the more he realized that it was making us laugh, the more extreme and exaggerated he would do it, and it was impossible. And if you were there, you would have laughed too.
I think the strangest interaction we probably had was with the locals.
Oh yeah.
At 29 Palms is actually the one restaurant bar in the entire area, and we shut it down, but they didn't seem to think that mattered. So they literally would walk in, go around our gear, get beer from where they knew the beer was, and just hang out. So we turned them into extras. Yeah. But one guy, we had to stop when they were doing one of the scenes inside. He kept just looking in the window. So we had to tell him, if you're going to be outside, you have to pretend they're not there. And then there was the guy who I think passed out and started snoring really loudly in Dale and David's scene. So all of a sudden you just hear in the background, and we had...
A little unsettling.
Yeah.
That same man gave me a snow globe. Oh, thanks. He gave me a snow globe. It's not really worth having a microphone.
And I think there was we did have a meth fire.
Oh yeah.
A couple, maybe a mile or so away, all of a sudden, we shot nights, so we were done around 5 in the morning, and all we saw was this big green cloud come up from a trailer. Is that not one of the ones I'm supposed to talk about?
We had interesting neighbors. We were staying in a very nice little house, but the boys all stayed in one place and the ladies all stayed in another place, and we had these neighbors who there was a tire and a pole and all of these sort of terrifying, dirty baby dolls hooked on the wire going down, and just their heads, and a big sheet draped over the house that said beware, spelled Bewhere. And it was, I don't think it was like a Zen statement. I think they were mistaken. Like, just get out of here. But it made it even scarier that it was spelled wrong. For some reason, you're like, oh my God, they could spell it. They don't care about rules. They spell how they want to spell, and they can do anything.
Melanie, I'm going to ask you a question. What drew you to the film, and how did you get involved?
I just really loved the script, and I thought it was sort of dark and interesting, and there was a lot sort of happening in my life that I wanted to process, and I just really loved it. I think I was the first person who signed on to it. Yeah, you're so cute. And then I had a meeting with Thomas, and I thought he was so interesting, and I knew he was going to do a really good job and make the movie that I would want to make. And so I felt really good about it, and then they just kept getting more and more good people, and it was great. It was a great experience.
That's wonderful. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, I see Run on the aisle.
Hi, great film. It was really interesting to explore the question of will you sleep with me, how everyone handles mourning differently. And I do have a question specifically for Jason. Thank you, all of you. Jason, you play vulnerability so well. In this film, and I'm also reminded of Amanda, who played a good dip.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. It's a film, everybody.
A drama.
And also, of course, Mark's here on parenthood.
Oh, thanks.
So sensitive and gentle. It really, you make me feel, I just ache with emotion. I'm wondering where you pull that vulnerability from. What are you talking about?
Gosh, that's such a well. Thank you. That's very nice to hear. It's interesting. I guess maybe I was always sort of like a little, I would like take things really seriously and sort of hard as a kid, and I guess I didn't have the kinds of parents who were like, don't push that down, don't feel that, it was sort of, I think maybe that had something to do with it, that I was sort of allowed to, I don't know, experience things and sort of be upset and not like be made to feel ashamed for just feeling what I was feeling. I wasn't like a crybaby, guys. But I think that I don't think that there was. I was never told that there was any value in shutting something down. You don't necessarily have to give in 100% to every little whim of how you're feeling, but to at least like experience it and sort of explore it yeah, I don't know. That's a really interesting question. I guess there are times where I covet other people's ability to sort of move forward, not think the same way that I think. But I at the same time I feel like it's interesting. I like to. I don't know how to answer that question, but I'm now feeling very vulnerable. But.
You answered it well, and thanks for mentioning your parents, because I was also a big fan of John.
Oh, thank you.
I saw you in a
Thank you.
the toddler, you snuck into the opening credits.
I did.
Joyce DeWitt was feeding the goats. Who's that cutie blonde?
Yep, that was me.
I do have one final question.
Yeah.
I will allow others another turn.
She has the distinction, by the way, of being the first person to buy a ticket to this movie.
Yay!
I know.
Nice,
Because she
amazing.
called me and said, when are the tickets going on sale? Please, please.
That's amazing.
So,
She said, how did you know they were going on sale? And there was a whole, I saw your name that you were going to be at the opening gala. So
Oh, yeah.
perhaps you had a movie. The movie wasn't listed, so I went on IMDb and I investigated.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
she's very excited about the film.
Excited. Let me know. Anyway, leading up to my next question.
Where do you live?
Will you marry me?
That's very sweet. Thank you so much. Now I'm blushing.
Okay, the next question, but not a marriage proposal. Okay, you look married, so you're with someone. Okay, great. So you can go next.
Can you talk about working for two directors and how they divided the roles and how that went? Oh, before you answer that, give me a moment to think. She was asking what it was like to work with two directors, just because they're not here, in case you hadn't read it as extensively as that lovely woman had. Thomas Beatty wrote the movie, and then he and his wife, Rebecca, co-directed it. So, hence the well-informed question. Answer.
Oh, sorry. It was basically the way that it was the jobs were delineated. That's the right word, right? Is that Thomas would sort of talk to us more. He wrote the story, and he has an acting background, and so he would talk to us about character and story. And then Rebecca worked really closely with Aaron, who is the cinematographer, because she's also a photographer. So she worked sort of more behind the camera, and there were a lot of crossover. She would tell us, she would talk to us about story, and Thomas would also talk about how to frame a shot. But generally, that was how it. You asked the question, I can look at you. That was generally how it went. Yeah.
Like, Thomas didn't look at costumes, I don't think. He was like, I don't know about any of that. But Rebecca was there for all the fittings.
And believe it or not, that house that you saw was set dressed. So we actually, before we got there, it actually looked slightly scarier. So we warmed it up a lot.
Yes?
I'd like to ask Melanie a question. Melanie, where are you from?
I'm from New Zealand.
And then what?
Oh, thanks.
Do you find it difficult to have an American accent? Because we often hear Americans having English accents or accents from other places. But how do you feel about it? Is it difficult for you?
It's not, I think it's easier for someone from New Zealand or Australia to do an American accent because we grow up with so much American television. So it's not, I feel like Americans think, oh, it would be so hard for me to do a New Zealand accent, but you haven't heard it very often. So we're so familiar with it, and it's just like, it's something also I've been having to do it for most of my work, so it's not that hard anymore. But I worked on it at first. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Did you used to do accents when you were younger? Because I have a niece who's 8 years old, and she just does accents all the time. But was that something you used to do?
I guess I would do that by myself in my room. I'm not the most extroverted person, in case you can't tell. So I wasn't like, where's my accent? But yeah, I would kind of practice different little things, yeah, like a weirdo.
Another question? Yes.
That is a really good question.
My favorite part of the movie is an improv.
Which is it?
The rock song.
Oh, yeah.